It was the kind of scene investigators rarely encounter. A home so pristine and undisturbed it felt untouched by human activity. There was no overturned furniture, no broken glass, no visible sign of struggle. Every surface gleamed, the floors reflected light, and the kitchen counters looked almost sterile. It did not feel lived in. It felt reset. And yet, this was not a stage property. It belonged to a man who had suddenly vanished without a trace. At first glance, there was no crime scene. But experienced investigators understand something critical. Sometimes, the absence of evidence is the evidence. Real life is messy. People leave traces. Here, there were none, and that raised an unsettling question. What happens when a crime scene is cleaned so thoroughly that the cleaning itself becomes the only clue? The missing man was 34-year-old Daniel Ease, a quiet freelance IT consultant known for his routine and predictable lifestyle. He worked from home, kept to himself, and rarely deviated from his daily habits. But one morning, he failed to show up at his usual cafe. Soon, his phone went unanswered, his work was neglected, and concern began to grow. By the third day, a welfare check was requested. When authorities entered his home, they found no signs of forced entry and no indication of disturbance. Instead, they found something more troubling: perfection. The living room was immaculate, the bedroom neatly arranged, and the kitchen spotless. There were no dishes, no clutter, no signs of recent activity. It appeared as though Daniel had simply vanished, leaving everything behind. His wallet, laptop, and car were still there. That was the first sign something was wrong. Investigators began to notice subtle inconsistencies. There was a faint smell of strong cleaning agents, not typical household products, but something more aggressive. The floors were too clean, lacking natural wear patterns or footprints. Even frequently touched surfaces like door handles showed no smudges. That level of cleanliness was unnatural. In the kitchen, a slightly misaligned cabinet drew attention. Inside, a bottle of industrial cleaner stood out, something Daniel was not known to use. It became clear this was not just a clean home. It was a clean scene, and cleaning leaves patterns. Forensic teams shifted focus to what could not be seen. Using alternate light sources, they scanned the home. At first, nothing appeared, but soon faint irregularities emerged. Certain areas of the floor reacted differently, suggesting something had once been there and then removed. Luminol testing revealed subtle patterns, faint traces indicating that a substance had been cleaned away. It was not obvious, but it was enough to confirm that something had been deliberately erased. Microscopic analysis uncovered remnants trapped in porous surfaces, especially between tiles where cleaning could not fully reach. These traces pointed to a specific area in the living room, suggesting a significant event had occurred there. Attention turned to those close to Daniel, particularly his former business partner, Chinedu Okafor. The two had recently ended a strained partnership involving financial disputes. Chinedu claimed he had not seen Daniel in over a week, but security footage showed a car matching his near the house the night before Daniel disappeared. Records also revealed he had purchased cleaning supplies earlier that day. While not suspicious on its own, it became significant in context. During questioning, Chinedu described Daniel's home as always spotless, but others disagreed. Daniel was tidy, but not to that extreme. This suggested Chinedu had seen the home recently, after it had been cleaned. Forensic analysis also revealed trace evidence linking him to the scene. Individually, the pieces were small, but together they formed a pattern. The major breakthrough came from a small section of flooring that showed signs of repeated, forceful scrubbing. Beneath it, forensic testing revealed traces consistent with material that had been partially removed. This confirmed that something significant had occurred in that exact location. Phone data showed Chinedu had spent more time in the area than he claimed, enough to clean the scene. Further investigation uncovered discarded cleaning materials, gloves, wipes, and packaging, matching those found in Daniel's home. As evidence mounted, Chinedu's account began to collapse. What initially appeared to be a disappearance was now understood as a carefully staged scene designed to look like nothing had happened. In attempting to erase every trace, he created an unnatural absence that drew attention. The lack of evidence became the strongest evidence of all. Chinedu was arrested and charged based on forensic findings, timeline inconsistencies, and his connection to the scene. During trial, experts demonstrated how cleaning cannot fully remove evidence and how patterns of removal can reveal the truth. The prosecution argued that the scene told a story, not through what was visible, but through what had been deliberately hidden. The jury agreed, and Chinedu was convicted. The case left a lasting impact. It challenged the idea that evidence must be present to prove a crime. In this case, it was not what investigators found, but what was missing. The silence of the scene, the unnatural perfection, and the absence of human trace all pointed to one conclusion. Something had happened, and someone had tried to erase it. In the end, it wasn't what was left behind that solved the case, but what someone tried to remove.